We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on this Sunday afternoon to PFL Tier 5 for a race around Monza, one of the majestic circuits in the motorsport world. Is about to be tackled by our Tier 5 drivers. I am Ben McCarthy, your commentator on this Sunday afternoon, and wherever you are in the world, thank you so very much for your company. Hopefully, we have a race of fantasy and a race of utter carnage in relation to Grand Prix racing and actual racing ahead of us. So it seems like the drivers are readying up now. This event will be split into a short qualifying session, then will come a 50% race, so 27 laps around the Monza track for the race to determine yet another winner and another race and another outcome in this Tier 5 season. So then the clock is ticking down towards qualifying around the Temple of Speed. Let's just quickly go through the championship battle at the moment, and it is Grace Warrior who sits on top on 68 points ahead of Verspace on 63. So there is a 5-point gap out in top. Maxi Monster is third, then comes a Curdray on 52 points, 1 point behind Maxi Monster. Then we have Theo in 5th on 40 points, Dumbest Basket in 6th on 30 points, SND 7th on 24 points, KOT 8th on 21 points, and then we have Scofie and Anthony both on 18 points, occupying 9th and 10th in the championship. So then there are some drivers heading out on track. We have, seems like, we have Homan heading out on track. We have Maxi Monster heading out on track. And for Maxi Monster, that is very interesting. He's going to go out on the medium compound tyres. Remember, top 10 drivers in this qualifying session, whichever tyre they qualify on, that exact tyre set will be their race starting tyres. Another thing to consider, most conspicuously around Monza, is the slipstream. With varying levels of downforce across the track, obviously you will want to tow, but because this is Monza and that you can gain so much time with a slipstream down the straights, which occupies much of this Monza track, you want to get the benefit of that. And, well, first man to take a venture off-road is Dumbest Basket. He is off-road on towards the first Lesmo corner. Now, he has a destroyed front wing, so he's obviously had a problem there through the Variante chicane. So that is not the start that he wanted. Let's see who's at the head of the pack. It is Maxi Monster, and he will set onto his first tour of this Monza circuit, opening DRS clocking speeds of over 200 miles per hour and braking for the first chicane. Della Roja chicane seems to get it stopped very nicely indeed. Right on the curbs, a little bit hesitant or a little bit late on throttle application, but it is a clean ride through the Curva Grande. Here we have the second chicane ahead of us. Be careful, you want to avoid much of that curve in the first part of that chicane, but then lay down the throttle as quick as possible through the second part. Now it looks like Grace Warrior has brought up the yellow flags perhaps through the first sector, but our eyes are still cast on Maxi Monster, who once more opens DRS and will go underneath the old Monza circuit. Now he'll head on towards the Ascari chicane. It's a very, very clean ride so far from the Williams. Now, towards the final corner, I'm always going to call this the Parabolica corner, but I know that that name has been changed as recently as 2021. I'm going to refer to it today as the Parabolica corner, just because it's easier for me. But Maxi Monster, his first lap around Monza brings him a 1:22.2. Theo is now going to cross the line in a few moments' time, behind Homan, who goes quickest on 21.7, but Theo displaces him on a 1:21.615, a tenth and a bit ahead of Homan. And it's the Ferrari at his home track who has the bragging rights at the moment. Donkey Kong has set a competitive first sector. Gatekeeper now will cross the line. He slots his McLaren into P3. We have Wilco on a lap at the moment in the Aston Martin. He's going to head on towards the Ascari chicane. Donkey Kong, though, he is just a little bit behind the Aston Martin as we have Grande Hombre on or starting a lap now. Grace Warrior as well is starting his first lap in this qualifying session. But let's cut back then to Wilco coming through the final corner. Will lay down the throttle to get the best exit possible. Goes out a little bit wide and almost lost the rear, but he will cross the line to make it a 28.1 in his first lap in this qualifying session. He will look for a significant improvement as this session goes on. Donkey Kong, he slots in just behind Push Storm, but he is 8th of the 9 runners so far. Grande Hombre in the McLaren, all getting very wide through the exit of the first Lesmo and turns in very early into the second Lesmo corner. But in the McLaren, who tasted success and victory success around Monza last year, courtesy of Daniel Ricciardo, it is in the hands of Grande Hombre to rise to the occasion. Homan and Zazon Bojka are second and third for Mercedes. Zazon Bojka just slotted himself into third, but Gatekeeper has got ahead of him. But Grace Warrior on the 1:21.3 is now the quickest of the lot. Grande Hombre now will reach the line and slot himself into P7. Kawasa, I was going to say he was on a lap, but I don't think this is going to come to anything because Wilco now. Wilco through the exit of the Ascari chicane has found the wall and has seen the end of his qualifying session. It seems like Push Storm is having the lap he wants to. He now comes through the Ascari chicane, doesn't get the line he wants, and will rage past Wilco there, who hopefully will glitch as soon as possible. Donkey Kong now up into 9th in the AlphaTauri. As Kawasa, no, he is not on a competitive lap at the moment, is now Grande Hombre. Through the second chicane, has had a problem. Kawasa's had an even bigger problem. The Armco wall has claimed Kawasa and has seen the end of his session in a dramatic moment there. That's the second driver to find the wall off of the exit of the Ascari chicane. And the front of that Alpine is a wreck. So that's 3 drivers already out of this qualifying session. Monza is really biting the drivers and really punishing them for even just minor mistakes. Let's ride on board with... Actually, no, because this is not a push lap from him. Homan is on an out lap as well as Maxi Monster, who has switched to the softs. Coty is also on an out lap, so too is Dumbest Basket. We've had crashes already in this qualifying session as 15 drivers has turned into 12. Grande Hombre, Wilco and Kawasa finding the end of their sessions with still over 10 minutes left. See their Dumbest Baskets weaving from left to right to get temperature into his tyres. Let's ride on board then with Homan in the Mercedes coming down the start-finish straight. He's already over 200 miles per hour as he heads on towards the first chicane. This is where we saw Marcus Ericsson have a horrific crash in 2018 caused by a DRS failure of Homan through the first sector, gets a clean exit and will head on through the Curva Grande. Takes there a lot of curb through the Curva Grande, trying to minimise the line on towards the second chicane, and that There's a sweet improvement from the Mercedes through the first sector. It's going a little bit deep into the chicane, but this is a promising start to Homan's lap through the two Lesmos, clocking speeds that are barely believable, such as the speed of these modern Formula One cars. But he heads on then onto this DRS straight, approaching the Ascari chicane. Again, reaching speeds of over 200 miles per hour, but will break for the Ascari chicane. Does get out a little bit wide, but he's able to save it and then almost lost the rear. But Homan keeps on going. He pursues the pole position time that Race Warrior holds of a 121.348. Homan wants to displace him, and as he rounds the final corner, he does get out a little bit wide, but it's now a dash to the line for Homan. Homan's pole position time is in sight and is usurped by that of Homan's. It's a 121.142. He is 2/10 clear of Race Warrior, and he is the man the drivers need to hunt down as Thomas Basket slots himself up into 6th, but Maxi Monster is on a significant improvement this lap. He could be troubling the top 3 places. KOT is now up into 4th in his Aston Martin. Maxi Monster runs Homan so close out in front. He's 3/4 of a tenth behind the Mercedes, and he's bringing about a battle. Zazon Bodka now starts the lap as Dumis Baskets ends his first sector. We now have yellow flags out through the first sector. Not sure why is that because of Homan. No, it's not. It's the other Mercedes of Zazon Bodka who's out of the session. So Zazon Bodka in the Mercedes, who was running in 7th place, is not going to be starting any higher than that. Here comes a Kerdri on towards the Ascari chicane, where victims have already been claimed. But a Kerdri through there, that is so very clean from the Red Bull driver. And he will head on then towards the Parabolica corner. Homan, though, in the Mercedes. Wow, what a lap time. That is of a 120.880. His teammate Kerdri is going to try and hunt that time down, but that is going to take an almighty tour de force. Kerdri from 13th leaps up into 4th. Push Storm is improving through the first 2 sectors by about 6/10 of a second. So this is going to look a lot better for the Alpine on this latest push lap. Here we go then into Parabolica. The Alpine chucks itself into the corner. Push Storm then will lay down the throttle. Seems to be a bit hairy on exit. As he finds the line, it's 10th. It is 10th for Push Storm. He displaces Grant Hombre. And that looks an awful lot better for the Alpine. Homan, after setting his provisional pole time, is now on a cool-down lap. Kerdri, wow, he's improving through the first sector. He's improving also through the middle sector. The Red Bull is not just done yet. Theo was looking for another push lap, but he's going to find the wall through the exit of turn 1 in a very peculiar crash there. Gatekeeper is also improving through the first sector. So these times are coming down by the lap, by the meter, by the minute. Kerdri was 4th, stays 4th. He's still half a second off of Homan as Theo continues his explorations through the first sector, and Gatekeeper has gone for an exploration off-road, losing the rear through the middle of the Ascari chicane, and he has done very well to keep that on the island. Push Storm now passes him. He isn't going to be troubling his provisional best time, but that is a shame for Gatekeeper. He was out by 1/4 of a second through the first 2 sectors. That improvement is going to come to nothing. Looks like Kerdri is going for another lap and gets wide there through the first Lesmo, but he rides the curves nicely through the second Lesmo and will head on towards the Ascari chicane. He's improving by fractions, is Kerdri. This is another lap in this session for him. So then, Akerdre into Parabolica. It's been a very clean lap so far from Akerdre, but it is not going to be registered as he dives into the pits. So then, Grace Warrior now in the Haas through the first chicane. He has KOT right behind him, and the Aston Martin is going to get a delightful slipstream with the Haas in front. We'll have to see if KOT benefits from this enough to trouble the top times. He's improving through the first sector, is the Aston Martin. But with Grace Warrior ahead, he's now going through the two Lesmo corners, gets the front end in very nicely. And the Dallara built Haas, in a car that was very poor in 2021, but is being brought to life in the hands of Grace Warrior. He's going to rage on towards the Ascara chicane. He's improving. KOT looks like he's improving as well. What will come of these laps? Grace Warrior will cross the line first. He's going to give KOT, though, the most amazing slipstream on towards Parabolica. Grace Warrior sits third on the timesheets. He sits first in the championship. He will look to strengthen his grip on that championship here today at Monza. And he slots himself up into second, but KOT, he was slower than Grace Warrior despite having the slipstream. Wow, that is a surprise there. So Grace Warrior hooking up a very, very good lap. Oh no, Donkey Kong is the latest man to find the wall. Part of his front wing is now on the missing list. He manages just about to keep that AlphaTauri in this session. Monza continues to bite the drivers and is not letting them get away with anything. These drivers are being pushed to the absolute limit, and it is a joy to behold. Maxi Monster is out on track and is improving through the first sector. Grace Warrior is not on a push lap. Homan, though, is. He's 2 and a bit tenths behind his provisional pole time, but he's going to get a tow from the Red Bull ahead on towards Parabolica, or he's backed out of it. But back to Maxi Monster. He sits third in the Williams. And he's improving again through the middle sector. Maxi Monster wants this pole position badly. He is going to do absolutely everything in his control to thwart the success of Homan and Grace Warrior. He has one more corner to complete with just over 2 minutes left of this session. This qualifying session has whizzed by. So too has Maxi Monster's lap. He can see the finish line. He takes the short run to the line, and it's a glorious final sector. It's glitzy, it's glamorous, and at the moment it is enough for Maxi Monster to fend off Homan. The Williams at the moment will start from the front, and with a jaw-droppingly brilliant lap. Thomas Basket is not improving through the first sector. Akerdre looks like he's on the lap. Theo is slowing down through the exit of the first chicane. But wow, what a lap from Maxi Monster. Doesn't look like Homan's going to be going out on track, and it doesn't look like Grace Warrior is either. So could it be Maxi Monster's qualifying session? Could it be his pole position? Gatekeeper is starting a lap in the McLaren. But he gets wide through the exit of the first chicane. And there, it seems like we have a problem for a couple of drivers. Is that Push Storm? I think Push Storm and Donkey Kong may have had a collision. That has brought the end of their session. Sultan Ahmet in the Red Bull is on a lap. Theo doesn't look like he is at the moment. There's all sorts of kerfuffle that went on through the first sector. Basket is improving. Theo, in the prancing horse in his team's home race, will look to have one last dash to brilliance. The quickest lap of the season in terms of speeds clocked. Theo is going to have a go That's bringing the prancing horse to the front. Dumbest Basket has now had a problem. He is out of the session. Gatekeeper is not going to improve in this session. Homan has crossed the line. Oh no, he's actually invalidated his lap, so he is not going to start from pole position. But Lil Gupta has set his first lap time in this session, and it was within fractions of Maxi Monster's pole position lap time. Gupta's now on another lap, and is quickest of anyone through the first sector. Could it even be Lil Gupta's qualifying session, who joined so late in the session? But it could be his day. A curd race, it's a promising middle sector. But is it going to be enough? He has one more sector to complete. Gatekeeper has seen the end of his competitive nature in this session. This lap will not count for him, but a curd race through the parabolical corner now. He's going to throw caution to the wind and is going to see the finish line in sight. Fourth, and it remains fourth for a curd race. Gupta is improving so much through the first two sectors. Comes round the final corner. No, he is going to stay out on track. And Gupta's gone on to pole position with a staggering time of 1:20.390. He has thrashed the opposition in this qualifying session with a glitzy, glamorous and glorious lap around Monza. The Temple of Speed has played host to Gupta's sensational speed. And Gupta has opened the gates of Monza to speed and his own sensation. He will start this Tier 5 race from the front with a lap time of 1:20.390. Who can stop him in the race? It's going to take an almighty effort with a lap time like that. What a job there from Gupta. Maxi Monster thought he may have had it, but the Haas beat him at the final moments. So then there is your qualifying order. Gupta on pole ahead of Maxi Monster, Homan, Akurdre, Grace Warrior, the championship leader, not having the greatest of qualifying sessions. Then Gatekeeper, Dumbest Basket, Theo KOT, and Sultan Ahmet rounding out the top 10. So then I'm going to take a very quick break, but when I return, this Tier 5 race will be underway. So then, we are just moments away from this Tier 5 race around Monza. It is Gupta who will start from pole position. But we have 5 red lights on ahead of the drivers. And we are racing around Monza. Maxi Monster looks like he's got a promising start, but in the second phase, Gupta is racing away from the pack. Homan and Akurdre are going to take the battles of Maxi Monster into the first chicane. It looks like Maxi Monster is going to preserve that second place, but Homan running very wide there through the first sector, and he's given Akurdre a tap. They're dropping down the order, and that's despair for the pair of them. A race that may have been so promising for Akurdre and Homan has just been washed away into dejection in a matter of moments. The virtual safety car has been deployed. But it was the typical Monza carnage into turn 1 as Grande Hombre has given a few drivers a bit of a tap there and has a 5-second penalty for his troubles. And Theo now is out of the race. He's found the wall through the first Lesmo, and that is utterly bizarre. Kawasa now has a time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. But this has been a manic Monza start. And the safety car in its entirety has now been deployed. see Gupta and Maxi Monster preserving the lead out, or preserving their positions out in front. Wow, what a manic start to this Monza race. Gupta from pole position manages to hold on to the lead. Maxi Monster still in second. But he was given an almighty scare from the drivers behind, looking to challenge him into the first chicane. Gatekeeper is going to take the opportunity to pit for new tyres. He's going to come off the soft tyres, and it looks like he's going to pit for the hard compound tyres. So is he committing to a one-stop? We'll have to see. Oh, Funky Deed is now out of the race. And he's crashed in the pit lane, has he? Because there's debris littered across the track, and this is utterly mad. We have two drivers, both Ferraris, out of the race already at their home event. It is dejection from the prancing horses who have just waddled out of contention. And their home race has ended up in tears just over a lap into the race. Saying his controller stopped working. That may have been why he wandered into the wall at the Lesmo. But wow, that was manic. That was mad. But that was just Monza. It continues to throw up drama. It is doing it again here at PFL for this Tier 5 race. So Ferrari, who experienced a double DNF in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix earlier, their fate fares no different here in PFL Tier 5. If you are with us for this race, thank you so very much for your company and time. We have had a manic, utterly manic start to this race, but not for Gupta, who has led this race from pole at the start before the safety car was deployed. Oh no, Homan! Homan under the safety car has had the most irregular of problems. Yes, Ascari has claimed victims so far in this race, but under the safety car. Homan damaging his tyres, almost wrecking his race as well, but the Mercedes is still in it, but just about. Let's see if he comes into the pits to get rid of those hard compound tyres. No, he's going to stay out on track, but he does not want to be doing any more harm to those tyres that little visit off-road has already done. Lap 3 of 27. Let's just have a look at the big winners at the start of this race. Kawasa, who started 17th and last, is up into 6th. Wilco started 16th. He is now 7th. Push Storm started 13th. He's 5th. KOT has grabbed 5 places since the start of the race. But the big losers from this start are Kerdray. He made contact with Homan at the start of the race. Homan himself has dropped down into 12th, and of course had that spin earlier on. And of course Funky Delia and Theo, the two Ferraris, already out of this race. Oh no! Gupta! In the most dumbfounding way possible, Gupta has found the Arco wall under the safety car. Could you believe it? Monza is getting to each and every one of these drivers. Nobody is safe, even under the safety car. Homan went for a venture off-road. Gupta has just sustained damage to his car and possible race-winning opportunities. But he's going to get us underway at this safety car restart as the safety car peels into the pits. And at Monza, it looks like we're going to get racing once more. Gupta is going to come into the pits and he relinquishes the lead of the race. Utter drama at the start of this Monza race. But it looks like Race Warrior is closing in on Maxi Monster. He looks the inside into turn 1. He's forced out of it. But it looks like he's still going to have a go, but the Haas runs off-road and he may just lose a few positions there and then. Kawasa goes through into seconds, Push Storm through to third. Kawasa has had the start of dreams. The Alpine is up into seconds here at Monza in the blink of an eye. Grace Warrior took his chance at the safety car restart, but it has come to nothing. He then struggles off the chicane, but he is not overtaken there by KOT. Oh, Wilco going very wide through the first Lesmo, and that presents the grandest of opportunities for Dumbest Basket to surge past all. And that is pushed on, getting out very wide and losing a handful of places. Sultan there in the Red Bull is surging on towards the Ascara chicane. He edges ahead of the Aston Martin. He's going side by side with the Aston, but he goes onto the gravel. He then spins, and he might just find the wall. He does. Damage there to the Red Bull, who finds the wall once more and finds the end of his race venture. Drama and drama again here at Monza. On Kawasa, getting a very problematic exit through Parabolica. Grace Warrior is going to say thank you very much. He has a chance down this straight. He's running side by side with the Alpine. He emerges ahead of the Alpine. Can he solidify his place in second place come the first chicane? Yes, he can. He asserts his presence on the brakes and asserts his authority in second place, but Kawasa is not going to let go. Through the curve of Grande, he's closing in on the Haas, but isn't going to look to take the toe. It looks like Grande, Hombre and Homan have had the problem through the first chicane. Homan is dropping behind the pack. But wow, what a start to this race as Dumbest Basket down the inside and push Storm. And they are severe consequences for the AlphaTauri, who spotted an opportunity, but that move just went so wrong. Kawasa, he is right. Well, he's dropped behind Grace Warrior by over a second. KOT wants to take the fight to him into the Ascara chicane. Is he able to do so? No, he isn't. He's just a little too far behind. It looks like KOT and Kawasa not having the greatest of times through the Ascara chicane. Looks like Akurdre wants to take the fight to them both. It's a race to the Parabolica. Kawasa just about ahead of KOT. Akurdre looks to the outside of KOT, isn't able to make the move, but Kawasa again struggling off of exit. And Maxi Monster out in front at the moment is having the best of races. But Akurdre in the slipstream of KOT, the Aston Martin then pulls into the wheel tracks of Kawasa. KOT and Kawasa side by side into turn one. Oh, there's a bit of contact between the pair, but the Aston Martin gets through. Akurdre then tries to surge past Kawasa, but the Alpine holds the position through a little bit of contact. But this is mad, this is manic, and this is Monza at its absolute best. Gatekeeper is currently ahead of Grande Hombre. They make a bit of contact as Gatekeeper then glitches. But we are getting overtakes galore here at Monza. Grande Hombre ahead of Gatekeeper for the moment. Looks like the Gatekeeper wants to come back at his teammates, but isn't able to do so into the chicane. Akurdre is going to have DRS on Kawasa. This is the battle for fourth place. He looked to the outside. He's now looking to the inside with DRS. Is he going to have the position into the Ascara chicane? It looks like the Alpine's going to run out wide, and he comes back onto the track. Akurdre manages to battle past. Kawasa is then forced out of it as Push Storm gets past his teammates, and he's not satisfied with just the one position. He surges past Akurdre on towards Parabolica. And the misfortune of his teammates has turned into delight as Push Storm gets past two drivers in a heartbeat. Akurdre then will dive into the pits for a new set of tyres, and Kawasa thunders into the rear of him. Kawasa is now out of this race. On it all, he was almost collected there by Gupta. The virtual safety car has been deployed. There is carbon being littered across every corner of this Monza track. The virtual safety car once more has been deployed, and this is just mad. Kawasa has now left the session as the virtual safety car is currently out. But this Tier 5 race is just delivering drama everywhere you look. Blink and you miss it. There have been crashes here, crashes there, and crashes absolutely everywhere at the start of this race. We've had a safety car already. We're now under the virtual safety car, but we are back under green flags occurred. Right now has a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. But let's turn our attention to the battle for fourth place being contested between Pushed Storm and Zazon Vodka. Towards the Ascari chicane, the Mercedes will look to have DRS down the start-finish straight and will look to claim fourth in this race. He crashed in qualifying. He's kept it on the islands in this race. He has DRS on the Alpine and he's going to surely breeze past on towards turn one. Zazon Vodka is up into fourth. Oh, but Pushed On almost gives the Mercedes a bit of a tap. He's going to be really pressurised by the AlphaTauri. Gatekeeper is ahead. Oh, the Gatekeeper is behind his teammate at the moment and then loses the rear through the exit of turn two. We have endured so much excitement. Just 8 laps into this Italian Grand Prix here in PFL Tier 5. Oh, Zazon Vodka! I said earlier on, he's kept it clean in this race. It's the commentator's curse as the Mercedes spears off the road and drops down the order. He's been passed by his teammate and he then finds the wall. And he has severely wounded his Mercedes as he mangles his Merc into the wall. Yellow flags brought out once more as Gupta now progresses past Grande Hombre. And Gupta, all of a sudden, just 3 laps after making his pit stop, is up into 6th. The magnitude of this utter drama is almost incalculable. It looks like, okay, KOT coming into the pits as Gupta sets the fastest lap of the race. All Pushed On is under pressure from Donkey Kong through the exit of the first corner and first chicane, through the Curva Grande and on towards the second chicane. Does the AlphaTauri have an opportunity? No, he brakes early. He doesn't want to risk it all with a move. But he's still very much in the battle for the final podium place. But Zazon Vodka, what a horrid moment that is for him. It looks like he's going to emerge behind the Red Bull. And possibly, yes, behind Wilco as well. Now we have a problem for Gatekeeper through the first Lesmo. He's found the island of grass and has dropped down the order. He tumbles down into 9th. And this is mad on his mad for Donkey Kong, who's going to spear off road and he drops down into 5th place. He was pressurising Pushed Storm. He's now down into 7th. Utter drama again here at Monza. What is it that we are casting our eyes upon? It's something unheard of. It's something utterly bizarre. And for Donkey Kong, who thought he had a chance of 3rd place, has just dropped out of the podium battle. But Gupta now wants 3rd place. He has been on a charge since his mistake at the safety car restart. He looks for the inside line into turn 1, and 3rd place is his, right before the safety car is deployed. And this has been a revive of utter magnificence from Gupta, who started this race from pole. And as the safety car has been deployed, he's going to eat into that deficit he currently has to Grace Warrior Maxi Monster. And you can see there Wilco losing the rear through, or just losing the car through the exit of the second Lesmo. So that is why he has exited proceedings here at Monza. The safety car for the second time in this race has been deployed and we're not even at half distance. Madness here at Monza is being realised in the most monstrous of manners. Maxi Monster leads the race, but we're under the second safety car here at Monza, and he's going to dive into the pits for the medium compound tyres and will look to make the only pit stop of his race. Push Storm getting perilously close there to Gupta on pit lane entry, but Grande Hombre has not pitted and he is going to leap up into third place. The McLaren is going to gain a few positions under the safety car, but of course will be on older, harder tyres, and that will make him very vulnerable at the safety car restart. You join us on lap 11 of this Italian Grand Prix here in PFL Tier 5, and it has been absurd. It's been full of anarchy since the very start. We've not even reached half distance. Maxi Monster leads the race. He's just made his one and what he will hope to be only pit stop of this race. Grace Warrior is second, the championship leader after starting 5th. He's running in the podium places ahead of Grande Hombre, who started 14th and he's battled his way up into 3rd ahead of Gupta, who crashed right before the safety car restarts from the lead of the race. Push Storm is 5th ahead of Home, and then comes KOT, Donkey Kong, Kurdre and Gatekeeper, with Zazon Vodka and Dumbest Basket out of the points. And our long list of retirements so far in this race consists of Wilco, Kawasa, Sultan, Funky Delia and Theo, the 2 Ferraris exiting the race in the first few laps of this event. Ferrari dejection has been replicated on many different stages. Nonetheless, it has still given birth to some hectic moments here at Monza. And if you are wondering, we have reached over half distance in this PFL season. We are at round 6 of 10 here in PFL Season 1 for all tiers. So Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4 and Tier 5, with just 4 races to go after this. We will be still in Italy next week, but we will be racing around the historic, innovative, imaginary insanity that is Imola. And then we will head on for our final few races of the season, with the season finale being held around the most loved circuit, well, perhaps the most loved circuit of them all, Interlagos. And it is going to be a season ending invested in such insanity and inspiration. But we still have much of this race left, with Maxi Monster leading from Grace Warrior, with the safety car still out on track. Oh, Maxi Monster! Very late onto the brakes into Parabolica, right behind the safety car, but the safety car now will come in at the end of this lap. A very late call there from the stewards. Maxi Monster becomes the de facto safety car, and with this long straight ahead of him, he could be very vulnerable. When does he choose to put the power down? He's chosen his moment. Grace Warrior is right behind him, but Grande Hombre has had the most hellish of starts. Gupta surges past instantly. Gupta is now in the slipstream of his teammates. Grande Hombre will look to come back at Gupta into the first corner. Is he able to make the move? No, he isn't. The Haas preserves that 3rd place in a moment. But Gupta, who wants the race lead back, we've had problems there for Push Storm. He's dropped down the order a little bit, and so too has Grande Hombre. But it is Gupta then ahead of Grace Warrior, and Donkey Kong's now out of the race. Oh, that is a utterly horrid crash there as Dumbest Basket tries to take evasive action and then spins. So Homan and Donkey Kong out of this race through the curve at Grande. We are still under green flag action. But wow, that was horrid. That was a horrid crash there. Drivers having to take evasive action and debris littered absolutely everywhere. Gupta It's hot on the heels of Maxi Monster. That is the battle for the lead. Push Storm. Oh, we have a safety car deployed once more. The tension, the fierce racing has boiled over, and for the third time in this race, we have a safety car. Maxi Monster still leads this race. He leads from Gupta. Race Warrior is third. It looks like all the drivers are going to stay out on track, apart from McCurdray, who comes into the pits to get rid of those hard compound tyres. Push Storm also into the pits, so too is Grande Hombre. I suspect Dumbest Basket will pay a visit to the pits as well. Insanity once more strikes Monza and strikes PFL Tier 5. So then all the drivers are on the medium compound tyres apart from Grande Hombre, who runs in 8th. Wow. Drama of biblical proportions is being realised here in PFL Tier 5. But it is still Maxi Monster who has led the majority of this race. And just about got that safety car spot on. The Williams leads this race ahead of Gupta and Grace Warrior, the two Hasses running second and third. It's still going to be a very bullish battle to the end. So then, lap 15 of 27 here at Monza. If you ever wanted the definition of unpredictability, you have this race before you. Maxi Monster has led much of this race, but everything that's happened behind him has transpired into utter carnage. This is the third safety car period in this race. We've seen Gupta crash out of the lead and have to battle his way back through the pack. And we've seen 7 retirements from this race so far as well. It's been hectic, it's been hellish for many. And there are still over 10 laps left. Do make sure you join us for the Tier 4 sprint around Monza tonight. Hopefully it lives up to every bit of drama that Tier 5 has presented here on this Sunday afternoon. And it was worth the wait, of course, this Tier 5 race starting later because of the earlier Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But boy, it was worth the wait. Gupta managed to throw away one safety car restart. Maxi Monster has perfected the other. But is it going to be third time lucky for Gupta at a safety car restart? The drivers warming up their tyres in formation. When does the Williams choose to go? The Haas is hot on his heels and will look to reclaim the lead of the race. And Maxi Monster is the latest driver to crash out of the lead. This is absurd. This is absolutely absurd, and Gupta now leads the race once more. Grande Hombre comes into the pit, so too does Maxi Monster. But what on earth was that for Maxi Monster? He's thrown away the lead of the race. and he was so comfortable for large parts of this race. But Tier 5 unpredictability strikes and strikes again. He's going to be so out of sync with the rest of the drivers, so too is Hombre, and it looks like Maximonster is going to be last of the runners. Are the inverse proportionality of PFL from delight to despair has been realised once more. But back to the racing, it looks like Dumbest Basket wants to take a place on the Zazon Vodka, and there's contact between the pair. The Mercedes is forced out wide. Dumbest Basket relinquishes the position to a Kerdre, and Zazon Vodka has fallen victim to a collision there, and he drops down into 8th. But Grace Warrior now, the championship leader, is pressurising Gupta. It's a battle between the Hasses for the race lead. Oh, Hombre's now out of the race. We're down to 9 drivers in this race. And this is us. Oh my word. The McLaren's upside down. That is peculiar. Very peculiar indeed. We saw a massive crash around Zandvoort in Tier 4 with a car upside down, but the McLaren there. Wow. Very rarely do you see cars landing upside down, but for the McLaren, that is a horrible accident. Storm is now into the pits for a new front wing and pits to the hard compound tyres. And he will come out in relatively close proximity to Maximonster. Maximonster will look for the DRS from the Alpine there, going to run side by side into turn 1, and the Williams is able to get ahead of the Alpine, but that is no consolation really for what could have been for Maximonster. But Gupta still leads this race ahead of his teammates Grace Warrior. Are they going to run in formation? Are they going to race to the finish? We will have to see. Now Zazon Vodka's had yet another problem. This race has got away from him in the last few moments. And it's a real shame there from the Merc, his team has endured a horrid day. Gatekeeper is just about ahead of a Kerdre. Gupta is just about ahead of Grace Warrior. The two Hasses leading out in front. Are they going to convert this promising position into race victory? We will have to see. Gatekeeper still ahead of a Kerdre. The McLaren struggles off the exit of the first chicane. A Kerdre spots an opportunity to go around the outside of the McLaren. He promotes himself up into 4th, and as overcast skies gather over Monza, a Kerdre has gained momentum in this race, is now in the top 4, and Gatekeeper rides the curb and goes for a spin. And this has been a lap that he will want to forget instantly. DRS, of course, enabled, and Grace Warrior is using that now to eat into the deficit he has to Gupta. They're running really close to one another, and when DRS comes into play down the start-finish straight, we could just have a change for the lead. Gupta crashed into the wall before the safety car restarts while he was leading out in front, and he's had to battle his way through the pack, but he leads this race. Grace Warrior, though, wants to change that very shortly. He has DRS down the start-finish straight. Will he have the lead into turn 1? He's gaining on Gupta, but he does not have the lead. Grace Warrior, the championship leader, will have to settle for 2nd place into turn 1. You can see there KOT really struggling through the first chicane. A Kerdre has already punished one driver for his mistake through the first chicane. Is he going to make it 2 in 2 laps? They're almost running side by side. The Aston Martin edges ahead, but it's the battle towards the 2nd chicane. The Red Bull looks to the outside. Is he able to seize 3rd place? No, he isn't. He then takes a load of curves and then gets airborne, but KOT still just about occupies that 3rd place. And it's a battle for the lead. It's a battle for the final podium place. And a race of insanity is now turning into a race of inspiration. Who can use their racecraft to effect? Who can conquer the challenge of racecraft and who can conquer the Italian Grand Prix here in Tier 5. It has been more than just a race of attrition in this race. Drama has unfolded before our very eyes, and drama will most certainly strike again. Gupta leads from Grace Warrior, Coyote just ahead of Akurdre. Akurdre spotting a gap perhaps down the inside of Parabolica, but he's going to have a chance down the start-finish straights. So too is Grace Warrior. He's going to take the fight to his teammates on towards turn 1. He opts not to take this slipstream, but he does have DRS. He's going to settle in behind his teammates into turn 1 as Akurdre is now past Coyote, and the Red Bull is leapt up into P3. It was a battle that started a lap ago. It has now ended in the Red Bull's favour, and he will look to solidify and strengthen his grip in third place. But is Coyote going to come back into the second chicane? No, he's too far behind to really trouble the Red Bull, but both get out really wide. Coyote almost lost the car there. But back to the battle for the lead. Contested between the two Hasses. Gupta is fending off Grace Warrior at the moment. But Grace Warrior in the slipstream or within DRS of Gupta can save a bit more battery, and that can pay dividends come the end of this race. It's a race of strategy and who can be the most adroit when it comes to that. DRS will once more be in action. Grace Warrior, if he follows in the wheel tracks of Gupta, he could have a chance into turn 1. The sensation of speed, the sensation of racing has been realised here at Monza, and it's Gupta at the moment who is having the greatest sensation. He was towards the rear of the pack after the first safety car restart after crashing out of the lead, but he has battled his way back into the lead and will look to keep that place until the end of lap 27. We have 6.5 laps left of this Italian Grand Prix here in PFL Tier 5. We've enjoyed so much elation, but also had to despair in misfortune of certain drivers that stretch from 10th place in the leaderboard down into 17th. But this race has transfigured into a race for the lead out in front. It's Gupta that occupies the lead, but Grace Warrior is not letting him breathe for 1 second. He has DRS, he's within a second of his teammate, but critically, pivotally, he does not have track position. He's 8 tenths behind his teammates as they cross the line for lap 22 of 27. But you can see how effective the slipstream and DRS is, because he's able to halve that gap into turn 1. What a race. What a wild and wondrous race this has been. There is so much still to be decided in this Tier 5 race. And it's a race to the end. Nobody can afford to blink for 1 second. The tiniest of mistakes have been punished so far in this race and will continue to be until the checkered flag. Very interesting because Grace Warrior drops behind Gupta by quite a bit towards the start of the straight, but is able to come back towards his teammates come the end of the DRS zone. But it is certainly noticeable that dark clouds have gathered overhead here at Monza. Could there just be a final twist ahead of us? Could rain be on the horizon? What insanity that would be. Not that we've been short of it in this race so far, but it would be just another page of daring drama. Grace Warrior still pressurising his teammates into the first chicane, but is not able to make an impression, and that is precipitation, otherwise known as rain, but that is rain falling. yes, there is a final twist. Yes, there are more obvious obstacles ahead. And yes, this is going to be an inspirational ride to the flag. Whoever can come out on top. The heavens have something to say in this race, and they are going to try and steal the glory from the Haas team, who lead this race 1 and 2. Push Storm now comes into the pits. Is this a switch to the intermediate tyres? It's going to be the first driver. Yes, it is the intermediate tyres. He's going to be the first driver with a chance for a switch to the wet tyres. Wow, you could not have wished for any more drama. We now have yellow flags in Sector 3, and that drama has now struck a Kerdre, who has gone off-road through the Ascari chicane. He's dropped out of the podium places, and is going to have to stare down the gearbox of KOT and Dumbest Basket. You could not fathom the drama we are enduring here at Monza. It's a slice of Monza magic that has been utterly mesmerising since the introduction of this race. And with just 4 laps left, who is going to battle the conditions? The rain continues to fall. I don't think it's enough for intermediate tyres just yet. It looks like Push Storm is struggling. He's soon going to be lapped by the leaders. But still, these 2 Haas cars are inseparable in this sprint, in this battle to the end. Gupta has the upper hand, but Grace Warrior is not letting him go. Grace Warrior has DRS on his teammate towards the Ascari chicane. He's eaten into the deficit. The rear wing of his teammate is so large and so visible ahead. The lead is so tangible to him, but he's not able to claim it at the moment. Rain is falling. DRS has not been disabled just yet, so the rain isn't as intense as it may be. But it is still a battle between each other and the weather. Who is going to master the conditions? Who is going to master the end of this race? Push Storm is still out on track, and those intermediate tyres must be absolutely roasted now. He's soon going to be lapped by the 2 Haas cars. And Gupta will take over from... Well, he won't take over, but he will lap the Alpine. And will still look to fend off his teammates. And Grace Warrior goes wide there through the second chicane, trying to avoid the ghosted Alpine. And he's dropped back just a little bit. We haven't really seen side-by-side action between these 2 in the last few laps. They have 2 and a bit laps left to keep it on the island. This has been the most challenging of circumstances for the pair of them, as Maxi Monster now gets past Saison Vodka. The Mercedes gives him a tap towards the rear and dares a move to the outside. He isn't able to make it stick. But he continues to give the Williams a shove through the exit of the corner. So it is Maxi Monster now up into 7th place. 2 laps to go here at Monza then. The 2 Haas cars have been running in formation. Grace Warrior really hasn't troubled his teammate at the moment. The 2 Haas cars wanted a 1-2 finish. They put it in the Discord chat before the race. They are living up to their hype at the moment. But the challenge is ever grand and ever majestic. Not necessarily majestic, but it's still a very, very tough challenge to overcome. They have just a few moments left of this race to keep it on the island and to secure the ultimate prize for Haas in this race. A 1-2 finish. Now we have yellow flags through Sector 2, and it looks like there may have been a problem for someone. Probably Push Storm. But drama has not struck the leaders at the moment. Oh my word, the rain is getting heavier. The challenge intensifies, so does the battle for the lead. Race Warrior will have DRS on his teammates, charging towards the final lap of this race. If he gets a healthy enough of an exit, Gupta's lead is under threat on the final tour of this Tier 5 race here at Monza. We've invested in so much drama, so much daring drama in this race. Is there still one more page left to write? This is the battle for the lead. Gupta wide through the first part of the chicane. Does Race Warrior have a chance? No, he doesn't, because he spins. Gupta may just be able to cement the race win. And the rain falling has caught Race Warrior out. That's dejection for the championship leader who thought he had a chance of winning this race. That chance has evaporated. The cars are running in formation to the end of this race, just trying to keep it on the road. That is the big challenge. But it is Gupta out in front. What a race, what a hectic race this has been. Monza never ceases to disappoint. And in this race result, it seems like it is not going to disappoint Gupta, who has 2 more corners to go. He's now making the charge towards Parabolica and will now then make the sprint to the checkered flag. You would think it is intermediate conditions now, but the rain has not thwarted Gupta. He crashed at the first safety car restart, and what turned from a race of determination at the rear of the field has turned into a race of domination out in front. He's going to slow before the checkered flag ahead of his teammates, and he's actually going to relinquish the race. They're running in formation to the finish line, and it's Race Warrior in the most bizarre, dumbfounding way who wins the race. Utterly gobsmacked. Race Warrior relinquished his chance of winning the race. With that final lap spin, Gupta slowed down and presented the race win to the championship leader, who extends his points advantage. And that is just the most bizarre way to finish a race. It is a 1-2, but it is Race Warrior that heads that 1-2 at the very last moment, in the last meters of the race. And he is your race winner here at Monza. Can you fathom it? Can you really fathom it? That was nuts. That was utterly nuts. And PFL Tier 5 produces yet more drama. So that is the race result. Race Warrior won a very pedestrian dash to the finish ahead of Gupta, his teammate. Thomas Basket 3rd for AlphaTauri, Kurdray 4th, KOT 5th, Gatekeeper 6th, and then the rest of your finishers, Maxi Monster, Zazon Bodka, and Pushed Storm, and your retirements, and there were a lot of them. Grande Hombre, Homan, Donkey Kong, Wilco, Kawasa, Sultan, Funky Delia, and Theo. Well, what a race, and if you enjoyed all of that, make sure that you come back for the sprint tonight around Monza. That was utterly glorious in all the majesty and all the utter madness that we were presented with, but it was also utterly bizarre. Well, I would call that the end of the stream. Thank you so very much for your company, and make sure you return next time for when PFL returns. Thank